Hello again, everybody. I am someone who has always had an interest in the supernatural. Ghost stories, haunted houses, and UFOs. You know how little kids grow through a period where they love that stuff? Well, I never grew out of that phase, apparently. One thing about being a little older is that you accumulate your own stories of your journeys through life. I am what's called a believer in life on other worlds, the afterlife, and like I mentioned in a previous video, that we humans do not have it all figured out. I am a believer not because of articles I've read or segments that I've watched on TV, but in personal experiences that I've had. Now, right now, as I film this, it's the late fall season and it's a pretty stormy, rainy day out there, which is a perfect setting to tell my tales of the unexplained. These are my true stories, accounts of events that happened to me with as much detail as I can muster. And now that we're past the intro, please gather around as I tell you my first tale of my experience with shadow people. Were first brought to the mainstream in 2001 on a coast-to-coast radio broadcast with Art Bell, a show I used to listen to all the time. However, shadow people have been referenced in Native American folklore and European literature long before that. They've been referred to as golems, jinns, or genies. They are also associated with the concept of sleep paralysis and waking dreams. My experience happened about 12 years before that 2001 broadcast during the summer of 1989. I mention this because it was before all the Discovery, History, and Travel channels had their popular paranormal programs, which are pretty much in abundance today. So, going back to '89, I'm a drummer in a remotely popular band, and we're playing these East Coast beach/shore venues. Now, this particular venue was and is the Bottle and Cork in Dewey Beach, Delaware. I mention it by name because it's one of the only music venues from back in the day that's still open and operational. Now, one of the band members had family that owned a little beach summer house outside of town that we could stay in after the show because it was only about 10 or 15 minutes away. Now, this summer house was actually in the woods, but in that area, if you know that area, it's beach and all the beach houses and condos and stuff, and then highway, which is Route 1, and then woods on the other side, and this is where that house was. Now, we arrived there around 3 a.m. after playing our show and packing up, and there were 2 bedrooms which were taken because, lead singers and other band members were at the top of the totem pole. So I slept out in the main room with the other band members. I was on a chair that had an ottoman, and the others were scattered about in the same room. So it's about 5 a.m. I wake up and it's, starting to get a little light out, that dark blue where you can start to make out images. I saw that one person was asleep on the couch one way, another was on the other side of the couch, and someone was sleeping in another chair. A couple of people were sacked out on the floor. And then a shadow stepped out of the corner. A shadow stepped out of the corner. A shadow stepped out of the corner. What it looked like to me was a silhouette of the Incredible Hulk, but just the black silhouette with no details standing floor to ceiling. And it was looking at me. I could tell it was looking at me. I even remember seeing it breathing. Then it took a step towards me and in a deep growl said, "Bad seed." But not like that. It said, "Bad seed." It took a step closer and again repeated the words, "Bad seed." And then started walking towards me and said, "Bad seed," one more time. And I'm awake. It's starting to get a little light out, that dark blue where you can start to make out images. There was someone sleeping on the couch this way, and another was on the other side of the couch, and someone was sleeping in a chair, and a couple of people were sacked out on the floor. and I got out of there. I got up and went outside and lit up a cigarette to chill out because my heart was going a mile a minute and I was pretty much in a full body sweat. Eventually, other band members came out and we started talking. I told them I was way too uncomfortable to sleep in there. We ended up leaving later that morning. I did not go back into that house. Now, once the paranormal programming started to happen on TV, I saw a show about shadow people and nearly had a heart attack watching it. Before that, I never told anyone because who would believe it? Who would believe that story? From those shows, I learned that shadow people are territorial and they stay in a particular place and chase trespassers or undesirables away. Now, these days, I find mine to be a common shadow person story. There's even different types of shadow people. The guy with the flat-brimmed hat, the guy with the cowboy hat, the praying mantis one, oh God, and a big black foggy mass. Well, I got the Hulk, and he was as every bit intimidating. Now, like I mentioned, I know all about the whole sleep paralysis thing and waking dreams. Thinking back, I wonder if it was a situation where I could not move or like a frightened child hiding under the covers should not move. When you're as scared as I was, it's kind of hard to tell the difference. To my credit though, and the one thing that is concerning is that I never had any kind of dream like that before or since. And I had never been in that house before or since. So I guess they are territorial. That's my story and I'm sticking with it. Thanks for listening. That was Paranormal Tale number 1, and more will follow. Yeah, I got more. Until next time, pleasant dreams.